Hello and welcome to another episode of Recap 2024 series of Drishti IAS English. I am Aisha, and in today's episode we will be covering the topic of the major environmental events that has taken place in the year 2024 and are important from General Studies paper 3, that is Environment and Ecology. And this is the last episode in the Recap 2024 series. So let's begin, and the first topic is 50 years of Project Tiger. So, after India got its independence in the year 1947, then the population of tigers were declining. So, to conserve the population of tiger or to maintain the population of tiger and then increase the population of tiger, a conservation effort was needed. So, the Project Tiger was started in the year 1973 with the aim of ensuring the survival and maintenance of the tiger population in their natural habitat, and that is why the creation of tiger reserves took place. And now in India in total 57 tiger reserves are there. Then starting with only 9 reserves. So this project was started with only 9 reserves that covered 9,111 square kilometers, and the project marked a paradigm shift in wildlife conservation effort, because the Project Tiger is a big success, and after the Project Tiger the population of tiger actually increased, and now from that time it has more than doubled. Now recently a new tiger reserve has been announced by the NTCA, and that is the Ratapani Wildlife Sanctuary. So the Ratapani Wildlife Sanctuary has become the 8th tiger reserve in Madhya Pradesh and the 57th tiger reserve of India. Important point from exam respect, you must know this. Then it was approved by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change through the National Tiger Conservation Authority, that is NTCA. Now what happens is, whenever a tiger reserve is announced, so it is the state government that gives that points out that this tiger reserve fulfills all the norms and that can be given the status of a tiger reserve. Then the NTCA looks into it, and then in the end the NTCA tells the ministry, and the ministry tells the state government to give notification with regard to the announcement of a new tiger reserve. So the role of NTCA and state government both are very important in the announcement or in the process of making a tiger reserve. Then the Corbett Tiger Reserve in Uttarakhand was the first national park and inaugurated site for the Project Tiger initiative. So the Project Tiger initiative, the first tiger reserve was the Jim Corbett Tiger Reserve, and this was also the inauguration site of the tiger reserves. Then the conservation status of tiger. So under the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, it comes under Schedule 1, and then IUCN status, it comes under endangered. Then the CITES, that is Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Flora and Fauna, it comes under Appendix 1. So you can say that tiger has been given the highest protection in all the different conservation status. Now as the Drishti IAS Mukherjee Nagar classes has shifted to Noida, the admissions are open in offline batches in English medium across all the branches of Drishti IAS, be it Prayagraj, Noida, Karol Bagh, Indore, Jaipur or Lucknow. If you have any query, give us a call at 87501 87501, or you can also download the Drishti Learning app. Now moving on to the next point, and that is the Swachh Survekshan Awards for the year 2023. As it talks about Swachh Survekshan Award, it means that it is talking about Swachh means clean. So the President of India has conferred the Swachh Survekshan Award for the year 2023 in New Delhi, and this was hosted by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. So the Swachh Survekshan was conducted by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs since the year 2016, and this can also be regarded as the world's largest urban sanitation and cleanliness survey. And the year 2023, it composed of 4,416 local urban bodies, 61 cantonments and 88 Ganga towns. Now what becomes important, or what can be asked from this Swachh Survekshan, is that which city was on rank 1 or which city topped the list. So now let's talk about the ranking of the cities. So whenever we talk about the cleanest city in India, then this city has been topping the list since last 7 years, and the answer is Indore. But the second city, which was always on the second position after Indore, has now made a change, or you can say has now made a jump, and Surat has also come to the first rank. So the top spot has been shared between Surat and Indore. So the first rank is Surat and Indore, while there is no second rank, and then there is a third rank. So you need to remember that the first rank is not only Indore, it is shared between Indore and Surat. Then this is the first instance of two cities sharing the top prize in the annual award since the year 2016. Both cities has achieved 100% door-to-door waste collection. Door-to-door waste collection means that the municipalities function, or you can say the waste collection functioning of the cities has been performed very well. 98% of source segregation. Now source segregation means to be able to distinguish between the wet garbage or the dry garbage. Then 100% remediation of dump sites. And Navi Mumbai secured the third cleanest city position. So first is Indore, Surat, there is no second place, and third is Navi Mumbai. Then Swachh Survekshan Awards 2023, Indore cleanest city, 100% door-to-door waste collection. Then Surat is also cleanest city, 98% source segregation, 100% remediation of dump site. Then third is the Navi Mumbai, that is improved cleanliness efforts. Now comes the next news, and that is the snow leopard population assessment in India. Now whenever we talk about snow leopard in India, the name itself you should know that they are found in the high reaches of the country, like for example Ladakh, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, because they are found at high terrains. The National Board for Wildlife has released the report on the status of snow leopards in India and the snow leopard population assessment in India program. This is the first ever. So first ever, whenever anything happens for the first time, it becomes important. So this is the first ever scientific exercise that reports the snow leopard population of 718 individuals in India. So it talks about that in India the population of a snow leopard is 718. The assessment conducted from 2019 to 2023, and this used a meticulous two-step framework. So under this two-step framework was used, including evaluating snow leopard spatial distribution and estimating snow leopard abundance using camera traps. So camera traps were used and spatial distribution was used. Now what are the key highlights of this report? So the key highlights of the report talks about that it recorded a snow leopard population of 718 in India, and when we talk about from different states respect, then that is Ladakh has the highest population with 477, Uttarakhand 124, Himachal Pradesh 51, Arunachal Pradesh 36, Sikkim 21, and Jammu and Kashmir 9. So if you will notice that every state has a, you can say it has a Himalayan backing, and also they are found majorly at the high terrain, and that is why the highest population is present in Ladakh. And the report also emphasized the need for establishing a dedicated snow leopard cell. Snow leopard cell is what needs to be established to focus on long-term population monitoring. And also as the climate change aspect is increasing, and the climate change, as the temperature of the earth will increase, then the habitat for the snow leopard will also be at danger. Next comes the snow leopard, the conservation status. So the scientific name is Panthera uncea. Conservation status is Wildlife Protection Act 1972. It comes under Schedule 1. IUCN status is vulnerable, while the CITES status is appendix. So under appendix 1. So the Wildlife Protection Act 1972 talks or keeps it under the highest protection. Now next comes the Cameroon adopts Nagoya Protocol. So Cameroon is a country which is present in the African continent, and specifically if we talk about, then it is present in the Central Africa, and then it has adopted the Nagoya Protocol. So if we talk about Cameroon country, then it is rich in biodiversity with around 11,000 species of plants, animals and microorganisms, and then they have adopted the Nagoya Protocol. And what does Nagoya Protocol talks about? Nagoya Protocol talks about or is based on the access and benefit sharing, and this is an agreement under the UNCBD, that is the United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity. Access and benefit sharing, it means the genetic resources, whoever is having the access of this genetic resources needs to share the benefit derived from it with everyone, and that is why access and benefit sharing. And the aim is to promote the fair and equitable sharing of benefits arising from the utilization of genetic resources. So whatever benefits will be derived from the utilization of genetic resources, fair and equitable sharing needs to be done. Then about Nagoya Protocol. So on access and genetic resources and the fair and equitable sharing of benefits arising from their utilization. And Nagoya Protocol was adopted in the year 2010, and in the year 2010 the COP which took place was COP10. So recently there is one COP which took place, and that was COP29. Now tell me in the comment section what was the venue of the COP29, in which city COP29 took place. So Nagoya Protocol is not only it does not only apply to genetic resources that are covered by the CBD and to the benefits arising from their utilization, but it also covers the traditional knowledge. It also covers the traditional knowledge associated with genetic resources that are covered by the CBD and the benefits arising from its utilization. So even if the traditional knowledge is used, genetic resources are used, and with genetic resources the traditional knowledge of the genetic resources will also be used, and the sharing of that traditional, if the access to the traditional knowledge has been done, then the benefits derived from that traditional knowledge, the sharing of the benefits also needs to be done. Next comes the World Air Quality Report 2023. So the 2023 World Air Quality Report, it provides a global review of air quality data for the year 2023, and the report summarizes PM 2.5 air quality data from 7,812 cities spanning 134 countries, regions and territories. Now when we talk about PM 2.5, so it stands for particulate matter 2.5. Now there are two type of PM particulate matter, that is particulate matter 10 and particulate matter 2.5. Whenever we talk about from the respect of air pollution, now PM 10 can be removed if we are using a good mask, or if we are taking proper precautions to be staying away from the air pollution. But with regard to PM 2.5, they are very minute particles. So these are the particles which are most harmful for us, because they can pass into the lungs and can even reach the last side of the respiration, that is the alveoli of your lungs. And so the PM 2.5 becomes very dangerous in nature, and this can also cause respiratory problems. Then it was created from real-time air quality data sourced from 𝐈𝐀𝐒 global air quality monitoring platform. Now if we talk about the summary of the report, so it talks about that it caused an estimated 1 in every 9 deaths. So air pollution caused 1 in every 9 deaths worldwide, and air pollution is the greatest environmental threat to human health. And exposure to PM 2.5 air pollution leads to and exacerbates numerous health conditions, including but not limited to asthma, cancer, stroke and lung disease. And respiratory problems are the most common problems with regard to PM 2.5. Then exposure to elevated levels of these particles can impair cognitive development in children, lead to mental health issues and complicate existing illness including diabetes. Then the year 2023, 10 out of reporting 134 countries and regions succeeded in achieving the WHO annual PM 2.5 guidelines value of, so the WHO value is 5 microgram meter cube. Now this is the WHO prescribed guideline value. Then with only 9% of globally reporting cities achieving the WHO annual PM 2.5 guideline. Now globally only 9% of the cities have been able to achieve what the WHO prescribes. Then urgent need to combat air pollution, and that is limited compliance. Only 9% meets WHO standards we just looked into. Then climate change connection, pollution worsens climate issues because as the national capital, that is Delhi, during the winter years, or you can say during the time of Deepavali or winters, when you can say due to firecrackers or stubble burning, construction process, precipitation not taking place, heavy winds are not blowing, then the air quality of the city worsens, and that is why many a times Delhi has been regarded as the gas chamber. Vulnerable populations, children face cognitive development. So children and the senior citizens are most vulnerable. Inadequate global action, slow progress in addressing pollution, fossil fuel emissions, major source of PM 2.5 deaths. Then health risk, PM 2.5 linked to severe diseases. It can be asthma or many respiratory problems. Then senior citizens also have many respiratory problems. Next topic comes the BBNJ treaty. Now BBNJ treaty, so the Blue Leaders High Level Event on Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdiction, BBNJ, Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdiction. This high level event took place in Belgium, and it encouraged the nations to ratify the marine biodiversity of areas beyond national jurisdiction. So BBNJ treaty was adopted, and this treaty is aimed at protecting the high seas from pollution, climate change and overfishing. Now basically it talks about the protection of the high seas. Now what are high seas? Now high seas is an area which is not under control of any country. It means that it is not under, it does not come under any country's territorial region, or you can say the exclusive economic zone. No, it is above, it is far behind it. So you can say the large oceans can be regarded as the high seas, the area which is not under any country's control. So the High Seas Treaty is international treaty under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Seas, and the aim is to address the growing concern over the long-term protection of the marine biodiversity in the high seas. Because as of now the problem of pollution, and you can say the oil spills are also taking place, the marine pollution is increasing, the plastic pollution in the high seas are also increasing. So to protect the marine biodiversity, a step needs to be taken to protect the high seas from pollution. It sets precise mechanisms for the sustainable use of marine biological diversity through international cooperation and coordination, and it follows an inclusive, integrated and ecosystem centric approach. It means that everyone needs to work together in an inclusive manner so that they are not causing harm to the high seas. Next is the establishment of tissue culture laboratory. Establishment of tissue culture laboratory. So recently Delhi Forest Department has initiated the establishment of a tissue culture laboratory at Asola Bhatti Wildlife Sanctuary. Asola Bhatti Wildlife Sanctuary to conserve rare native trees. Now what happens in the tissue culture laboratory is that the tissues of any tree, or you can say any species of flora or fauna, is taken from the natural environment and then it is kept into an artificial environment, so that if in future any kind of artificial production needs to be made, then that can be done through tissue culture. And this is one of the best ways to protect and conserve any natural species, so that if the species becomes endangered in nature in future, or you can say for future, the tissues of that species can be used for production of the species again. The goal is to grow endangered native Delhi trees in a controlled environment to regenerate saplings of species facing regeneration challenges due to invasive species. Now what happens is that when an invasive species enters into a region, it causes harm to the already and naturally occurring species of that particular region. So to protect the natural species of that region, the tissue culture mechanism is considered to be a good mechanism. Then the lab will be able to extract plant tissue from an in vitro fully grown plant. Now let us see established tissue culture lab for conservation. So first of all, the endangered native trees declining rapidly, so the tissue will be taken from them and regenerate saplings using advanced tissue culture techniques would be done, and then thriving populations of native trees restored. It means this is the natural species, then tissues are taken from these species into an artificial manner, and then the species which are becoming endangered can be restored. Now about the Asola Bhatti Wildlife Sanctuary. So it is located at the end of an important wildlife corridor that starts from Sariska National Park in Alwar and passes through Mewat, Faridabad and Gurugram districts. Next is the IUCN report on mangrove ecosystem. Now mangrove ecosystem, whenever we talk about mangrove, is a topic which is important, like for example corals, mangroves, because this can come in the examination directly and questions had been asked from the topic mangroves. Now the IUCN, that is the International Union for Conservation of Nature, it has issued a new report cautioning that half of the world's mangrove ecosystem are at risk of collapsing. Half of the mangrove ecosystem are at risk of collapsing. This marks the first comprehensive global assessment of mangroves by IUCN. First, and the report, the title of the report is Red List of Mangrove Ecosystems. It unveiled these findings on International Day for Biodiversity, and that is 22nd May. Now what is the finding of the report? The report talks about that over 50% of the world's mangrove ecosystems are at risk of collapse, with nearly 1 in 5 facing severe risk. As mangroves are a very, you can say, this ecosystem is very important for the environment. It is salt tolerant, it takes place in fresh water. So this becomes important as it protects the coastline of any country from any natural disaster or from any extreme events taking place or from any extreme events unfolding. Then 1/3 of the world's mangrove ecosystem provinces will be severely affected by sea level rise because of the climate change or the melting of the glaciers, with 25% of the global mangrove area predicted to be submerged in the next 50 years. So the coming 50 years, 25% of the global mangrove area is predicted to be submerged because the sea level rise will take place. Mangrove ecosystem in South India, shared with Sri Lanka and Maldives, is categorized as critically endangered. Globally, climate change is the major threat to mangrove ecosystem, affecting 33% of the mangroves. And if we talk about the biggest mangrove area, so that is present in India and it is also a World Heritage Site. I will not tell you the name of that World Heritage Site and the major mangrove area. In the comment section, you people will tell me it is very, very famous. So tell me in the comment section which about the World Heritage Site and also the largest mangrove area in the world. Now let us talk about mangrove ecosystem collapse risk. So habitat loss, which diminishes ecosystem resilience. Then climate change, it accelerates environmental degradation. Then comes unsustainable development. Unsustainable development reduces natural habitats. Invasive species disrupts the local ecosystem. Then population, it harms biodiversity and health of the people and the ecosystem. Sea level rise, it submerges critical mangrove regions. Next is the UNESCO State of Ocean Report 2024. This talks about, or it offers insight on ocean related scientific activities and analyses describing the current and future state of the ocean. So how the oceans are performing or how the oceans are behaving. So the report acknowledges the growing interest in marine carbon dioxide removal technologies. Carbon dioxide removal technologies aimed at capturing and storing atmospheric carbon dioxide. That how the atmospheric carbon dioxide can be captured and can be stored. Then what are the key findings of the report? So the report talks about there is an urgent need for regular data to monitor ocean warming and its impact, supporting the challenge for healthy and resilient oceans. And one of the most important findings is the upper 2000 meters of ocean, warmed at a rate of about 0.32 watt per meter square from 1960 to 2023. It means if this is ocean, then the above 2000 meters of this ocean has warmed from 1960 to 2023 at 0.32 watt per meter square. 0.32 watt per meter square. This is an important point, and in your mains answer writing also you can do or write this point. Then the increased greenhouse gases emissions from human activity or from anthropogenic activity. When we talk about greenhouse gases like carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, water vapors, chlorofluorocarbons, methane. Then about 90% of the EEI is being absorbed by the oceans, resulting in a cumulative increase in ocean heat content in the upper 2000 meter of the water column. And when we say EEI means Earth Energy Imbalance. Because when we say ocean, so ocean captures a lot of carbon also, and ocean captures a lot of heat also under it. Now next comes the Bonn Climate Conference for the year 2024. Now the recent climate meeting in Bonn, Germany did not achieve significant progress in defining a new climate finance goal. So the new climate finance goal could not be come upon, and the climate financing refers to large scale investments or capital which is required for actions to mitigate or adapt the climate change. Then next is the Teal carbon study at 𝐠𝐤𝐬 National Park. Teal carbon study. So India's first study on teal carbon. So this is important. India's first study on teal carbon was undertaken at 𝐠𝐤𝐬 National Park in Rajasthan's Bharatpur districts, and research has found elevated methane emissions leading to a recommendation to use specialized biochar to reduce these levels. So methane levels has been found in high amount, and the aim is to develop nature-based solutions to address climate change. Now, what is teal carbon? So, teal carbon is carbon stored in freshwater non-tidal wetlands. So, wetlands where high tides or low tides, no tidal wetlands, the tides does not come. So, that wetland is where in freshwater the carbon is stored, and that carbon is known as teal carbon. And this teal carbon has the capacity to store or to sequester carbon at a very high rate. So the carbon stored in freshwater non-tidal wetland, including vegetation, microbial biomass, dissolved and particulate organic matter. Teal carbon is categorized based on its role in ecosystem and its location, distinguishing it from black carbon and brown carbon. Now black carbon and brown carbon are emitted from the burning of the fossil fuels or from the anthropogenic activities of the humans. But teal carbon is different, because teal carbon is a carbon stored in freshwater non-tidal, and it focuses on carbon sequestration and wetland conservation. Now about 𝐠𝐤𝐬 National Park. 𝐠𝐤𝐬 National Park is a wetland and bird sanctuary and is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It is located in Bharatpur, Rajasthan. Chilika Lake and 𝐠𝐤𝐬 National Park, they were recognized as the first Ramsar sites of India in the year 1981. But currently 𝐠𝐤𝐬 National Park and Loktak Lake in Manipur are involved in the Montreux record. Now when any site is present under the Montreux record, it does not mean that the site is doing well. It means that the site needs immediate conservation. So 𝐠𝐤𝐬 National Park as of now needs immediate conservation. Next is the International Big Cat Alliance. Now the International Big Cat Alliance, India has officially joined the International Big Cat Alliance, and it was launched by Prime Minister of India in the year 2023, and the aim is to protect the big cats and their habitats. Now there are in total 7 big cats, and out of these 7 big cats, 5 are found in India. Puma and jaguar are not found in India, they are found in Africa. And if we talk about the International Big Cat Alliance, then that is multi-country, it means different countries are present under it. Multi-agency coalition of 96 big cat range countries and non-range countries aimed at conserving 7 big cats and their habitats. World Cities Report 2024. The UN Habitat has released the World Cities Report 2024. The name is Cities and Climate Action. The report highlights that the cities are among the largest contributors to greenhouse gas emissions, yet they face disproportionately severe impacts of climate change. So the World Cities Report 2024 talks about different aspects, and that is rising temperature, which leads to health risk, climate transition leading to urban planning implications, coastal vulnerability like sea level rise and storm surges, flood exposure like urban population at risk, and the problem of urban flooding is also at a rise, decline of urban green spaces, environmental degradation and social change. Then green gentrification, which leads to displacement of communities. Next is the UNFCCC COP29, which took place in Baku, which is present in Azerbaijan. So the UNFCCC COP29 concluded in Baku, Azerbaijan, and it saw around 197 to 200 countries coming together and talking about the impacts of climate change. Key highlights is the major breakthrough was new collective quantified goal on climate finance, even though the developing countries did not agree with it, and they were asking that the developed countries who are majorly responsible for increasing the global temperature, they need to compensate the developing countries, be it in capital form. Capital they need to provide, technology they need to provide, innovative technologies they need to provide, research and development they need to provide. And the developing countries were asking for around 1.3 trillion US dollars, but in the end the developed countries agreed to pay 300 billion US dollars, and the earlier they were paying 100 billion US dollars, and the developed countries has increased it from 100 to 300 billion US dollars, and the developing countries were not satisfied with it, and India outrightly rejected, or India outrightly did not agree with what the developed countries has offered to the developing countries. Then comes the next topic, and that is the cloud seeding. So recently the proposal for cloud seeding as a measure to combat air pollution in Delhi has gained attention due to the acute air quality crisis, with the air quality index of the national capital going past 450 and is coming under the severe condition. Now about cloud seeding. What is a cloud seeding? It is a weather modification technique through which artificial precipitation or artificial rain can be caused, and this can be done by dispersing chemicals like silver iodide, potassium iodide or dry ice. These chemicals can be spread or sprinkled on the clouds so that artificial precipitation can take place. What can be asked in the examination is which chemicals are used: silver iodide, potassium iodide and dry ice. And the process facilitates the formation of ice crystals in the clouds, which can lead to artificial rain. Now look at this image. Cloud seeding process to combat pollution. First of all, chemical dispersion takes place, then nuclei formation because of this chemical dispersion takes place, and then droplet condensation takes place, and then precipitation takes place. And when the precipitation takes place, then the air pollution reduction takes place, because the precipitation or the raindrops, it takes away the pollution with it. So this was the last topic, and we have come to the end of the environment episode, and also with it we have come to the end of the recap 2024 series. So in this series, we have covered different segments or different subjects, like for example, government schemes, major acts, major judgment, codes, awards, science and technology, and then in the end, the environment episode. And there is a practice question which has been pinned in the comment section for you people to answer. And like I always say, you people will give me the answer in the comment section of the question which is pinned in the comment section. Now as we come to the end, and this year is also ending, like 2024 is also ending, so from Drishti IAS English side I would like to wish you all a very happy new year, and keeping in mind your exam preparation. So keeping in mind the upcoming 2025 prelims, Drishti IAS has come up with a new series named Sambhav, which will cover both your prelims and mains preparation, because you on daily basis you will get 10 prelims question plus 2 mains answer writing question, in-depth analysis of previous year questions, and complete coverage of current affairs and general studies. And this Sambhav series you people can find on the Drishti IAS website. And apart from this, keeping in mind the upcoming 2025 prelims program or prelims exam, PT Sprint series is also starting for you people in the new year as a new year gift for all of you, and this will also be available on the Drishti IAS website. Under this, you will be able to cover the current affairs of the exam which is important for your prelims 2025, and the mock test will also be available. So this will also be present on the Drishti IAS website. So you can take advantage of all these initiatives of Drishti and celebrate your new year with the right spirit. And I wish you all a very happy new year. And thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned with us.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.